Hello, friends and neighbors. Welcome to the LFC Transfer Room Show. It's Tuesday night, which means it's Stars, Stripes, and Anfield nights, the nights of big opinions and little facts the American way. Tonight, I am your host, Brandon. First time doing this, so don't beat me up too bad in the comments there. And who with me today is the usual star of Stars, Stripes, and Anfield nights, never misses a show, Mr. Colin. How you doing tonight, Colin?
I'm quite well. The usual suspects is really what I seem to cop to. But yeah, doing great.
Good.
Always happy to be here.
Oh, nice. Staying warm?
No, dude, it's frigid. It's what's it there?
I think it was a high of 13 today.
Yeah, that's like what it was here. And the worst part about it was I was like, okay, cool. Like make it through these couple of days, like 9-10 degrees, not a problem. No, it's going to be that for the next week. I'm like, that's awesome. That's really good.
Yeah, so I'm waiting for Paul to pop up in the chat to tell us how it was like negative 55 where he's at up in the Great White North.
Yeah, literally, he's like, suck it up, guys. But some people are tougher than others. Yeah, no doubt.
All right, if you've never joined us for Star Stripes and Anfield Nights, this is an American themed show brought to you by LFC Transfer Room. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, support all the fun stuff you can do with the channel. We are unbelievably close to 10,000 subscribers, so make sure we get to that number. Make it this the video that we get to that number. But other than that, I mean, let's jump right into it. If you're ready to go to the topics, Colin.
Let's do it.
All right. The big topic that I thought I saw today was that head of PGMOL, Mr. Howard Webb, the wonderful Howard Webb, came out and said that the handball on Martin Odegaard during the Arsenal game should have been called a handball and we should have got a penalty. How unbelievably sick are you of talking about VAR issues?
Yeah.
Just go with it.
so done. Literally so done. This was, I think, even before, like right after I had joined the group, like in March, I think. Like we were talking about the referees then, and I feel like it's at minimum every other week it is like the exact same. It's the exact same headline, just like Mad Lib out a couple things and paste in a new date in there, and it's like it's the same. And I guess here's the most disappointing part is that we're continuing to have the same conversations and nothing has changed. Like, Howard Webb comes out and the PGMOL say, we messed up. That was a fault. And we'll be better. Okay. But like, how are we expected to believe you? How are you going to be held accountable to saying that? Like, you just keep saying that. And honestly, it's not just us. Like many other teams have like encountered like very much the same thing. I think back to like week 1 and Wolves get done absolutely dirty in the first game week. And like, it's just been off and running since then. And it has not, there's no recourse for change. There's no recourse for alteration of rules or anything like that. So it's really like depressing, honestly, to continue to talk about it and to think that nothing is going to continue to be done. I don't know, Brandon, what do you think?
Yeah, kind of the same. Like, I know after the Tottenham game, we had our big vent session on here, and I said, like, really what they need is a complete outside force, somebody who has nothing to do with the English FA, who comes in and just kind of runs this and is kind of clean house of these guys who are just kind of skating by on friendships or the good buddy system. Because I'm sick. Because, like you said, every single week, it's not just us; it's every team. There's some big issue with something going on. I think it's not Forest or maybe it's Bournemouth who have 2 complaints against the same official, where they've been like had blatant bad calls against them. Why one the same official, and they've like complained twice. And I don't know if they've got the Liverpool treatment now. That guy is like scheduled to do every single Bournemouth game for the rest of the year, like they do with us with Tierney. But it's just. I know, like, it's a very difficult job. These are professional athletes going at high speeds and you can miss calls. But the whole point of VAR is to fix these calls that sometimes you need a second look at. And right. They are constantly getting them wrong. And even with this, like, Howard Webb is contradicting what they put out after the game, which they said, no, actually that call's right because he's going to brace himself and he's moving his arm back towards his body. And then he comes out like, no, actually, no, that should have been a penalty. It's like, yeah. Like, who's reporting to who anymore? I don't know. There's just seems like just go out there and have fun, guys, and do whatever you want to do.
I can't. I can't believe that it has continued, and I wonder when this will change as well. But I think part of the problem is, and you kind of touched on this, that it is sort of it's an old boys club. Um, I on that on event session, I was on a stream. I was on with Rigo. I
Mhm.
can't remember if it was on here or not. Where I likened it to, like, there are a lot of parallels between like the American like policing system.
Oh yeah, I was on.
Obviously not like, not the same outcomes, not the same like, detriment to people's livelihoods, over the course of their lives, but like the same kind of themes in like lack of accountability when things go wrong, or like, oh, we'll get it better. But like who is, who is watching the watchmen? Who
Mhm.
who is who is policing these people? Who is setting the rules and changing things when things go wrong? So I don't, I would be very interested to see if and when more referees of like more women, more black people, like more diversity, more people who are not just like this old boys club. I wonder if that sort of diversity in uh diversity of that group will start to bring in different ideas about change and about like accountability and things like that. Just a thought.
Yeah, well, not if it's up to Joey Barton. That's not going to happen. So.
Oh God.
No, like, yeah, I remember being on that stream because I had just
Yeah.
like finished watching The Wire when you just kind of talked about that. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, this is pretty much exactly
Yeah.
what's going on. Just institutional ineptitude. That's
Yeah.
basically where we're at. And like it happens in other leagues, but it doesn't seem like it happens nearly at the same rate that it happens in England. And that's what's the most frustrating because like I'm being an MLS fan and going to games.
Yeah.
Like there was maybe one or two games where I'm like, wow, really, the ref has no control or just whatever. But it's every single game I feel like,
Yeah.
what is going on? There's been like with Anthony Taylor twice, I can think of these off the top of my head, of giving us penalties but not giving a card at the same
Yeah.
time. And then like they just review for a red card and then but they just like, no, it's not a red card. I'm like, but where's the yellow card at? Now I'm like, that's kind of the
Great.
point here. I think it was
Yeah.
Pascal Gross was the big one during the Brighton game because then he went and got himself a yellow like later in the game. I'm like, he should be off at this point. Like,
Yes.
I don't know. It's
Frustrating.
a very frustrating thing to always have to talk about is officiating because I don't want to be that guy. He's like, oh, the refs are out to get us. But
Yeah.
when it's been the two of our, I guess, title rivals, if you want to consider Spurs a title rival, like those are 4 points dropped, and as we know, like 1 point is all it takes. Like
Mhm.
go too well.
It does.
Yeah,
The
but
fine margins.
yeah. But let's get out of the ref talk. Let's not talk about the refs too much. You know, they
Toss them aside.
Yeah, toss them aside. Let's talk about Mo Salah and his impending move to Saudi Arabia. That's been happening for 6 months now.
Yeah.
It's happening any day for 6 months. I think it was Al Hilal, I think was the team quoted today.
Mhm.
I'm not going to waste our time talking about whether it's going to happen because it's not going to happen this season at all. Mine is more of a hypothetical.
Mhm.
With Mo's contract running out at the end of next season, that puts us in a position to either cash in or try to extend. If we can't extend, do we have to sell this summer or do we try to keep him and see how much we can win with him and then let him go for free?
I think that sort of depends on kind of where we finish, and not necessarily just in like what place that we finish, but like how we finish out this second half of the season. How do we, what is our form? What is the makeup of the club? What does it look like going into next year? If we're playing Champions League, then I think him staying is obviously the most likely, and even like playing that down, I think, um, you know, I think that would be the most likely scenario if we're still really playing well. We win a trophy or two. We get Champions League. He'll like the deal will be worked out for him to stay. Otherwise I don't know how. I don't know how they would go through this transfer window opening without cashing in. Like there seems to be too much money if it was not something that was going to get done eventually. Like if there was no contract talks or there was no hope of getting something done, and there wasn't at least a high level of confidence in getting something done, then they wouldn't they wouldn't be in this spot. He would already be on his way out the door for whatever we could cash in for. So I'm very not worried about it. I'm interested to see what you think.
Yeah, like with my kind of hypothetical there, I would almost think, like, say if we actually would like do the double, which would be incredible, like to do like Premier League and the Champions League. At that point, I think we kind of make the prize money back, like in a sort of way to cover the loss of not getting a transfer fee for Mo and letting him go for free. But I think with how it's all going, like you just have that feeling in the pit of your stomach that they're just going to come in with a $150 million offer for a player with 1 year left on his contract. And it's like, can you really pass up that type of money and then reinvest it? Like, it's a quandary that I'm not happy I have to answer, like in a real sense. But yeah, if we're able to, I think, win the Premier League this year, or even like do a quad and like win everything, which I don't think was happening until we beat. Actually, I think we're going to do it now. That I could see that being okay. That's the kind of off into the sunset moment. Like, he won everything at Liverpool. We can let him, take his move this year and then make money back for the club. I mean, it's a tough call, even as News says here in the chat. If it was guaranteed that we'd win the double, I'm like, yeah, we got to keep him. Yeah. But nothing's guaranteed in sports.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been like, I saw the Halaand news and it just kind of popped in my head, the hypothetical. I'm like, what would it take, or if we were going to win things next year and cover some of the loss of not getting the transfer profits, like, do we take it? I'm like, I don't know.
I mentioned this to you. I think this is clearly, obviously wanting to answer your hypothetical, but this is so clearly we're trying to bury the Saudi like bad news of the sporting director from Newcastle and the trouble he's in. Like, this is so clearly like, how many stories can we put out there so that aggregators, like us, or journalists, whoever, like, have to, we've got to put it up. We've got to, when it's a headline such as, Mo Salah will go to Al Hilal next summer. Like, what, when it's kind of put in those sort of definite terms, obviously everybody's going to carry it. So this just pushes that, the story that they actually want to bury as far down as they possibly can get it. So, like, this is no surprise to me that we've heard really nothing about this. And then, of course, that news breaks, today or yesterday, whatever. And all of a sudden these Saudi rumors like immediately start popping up. I really I forgot to mention this last week on the stream with Drew, but I really think that Roberto Firmino and Fabinho coming back when they were on break and being around the team, and like, all this news about all these guys wanting to leave. Obviously they talk. Obviously they're still friends. And if you don't think that in the post, in the post match, like, mixing room, whatever, if they weren't talking and those guys, of course, were telling, Thiago, and they of course were telling Mo, like, this is a disaster. This is like, I don't care how much money I'm being paid. Like, I'm fearing for, like, my wife's, autonomy, and like, the money is not worth it. Like, those guys, that gets around, and Mo knows that the money will still be there in 5 years. That, their oil money's not drying up. It's not going anywhere. He still will be, one of, if not the most influential, sports star in the Muslim world. And he still knows that as a competitor, like, he has something to give and he still has something to prove. And I think that certainly is what matters to him most. He always could have gone to PSG and made more money. He always could have gone to Real Madrid or Barcelona and made more money. He could have pushed his way into those things. I don't think he's as concerned with that. If he feels like he's being paid fairly for his contributions, he cares much more, I think, about the sporting aspect, his position in the team and the club overall, being ambitious, wanting to win things, and putting that foot forward. This whole like Saudi bubble came. Someone mentioned the Saudi bubble popped so fast, and those rumors from those players getting out about their experience there was so quick to come out. It was I would not be surprised if we don't see any other major moves into there for quite a while.
Yeah, I could see like maybe those never made it type players or something like that. Like those players who had like a big name but never quite made it, maybe making those moves and like taking the big payday. I think you're right. I think Mo does really care more about his overall like sporting legacy over his monetary legacy because he's made enough money to support his family for generations at this point, more than likely. Yeah, like every time he rips his shirt off during a game, I do think I'm like, no, he's not anywhere close to wanting to slow down. He wants to keep going because like he's on top of physical form at all times. If he doesn't go to Saudi and say he still leaves on a free, where do you think he would be like kind of heading to?
I mean, it would. There's very few, I think, places to go. It's. I would think it would only be something along the lines of, it's Bayern Munich or it's Real Madrid or it's Barcelona. Like I definitely don't think he's anywhere anywhere even considering going somewhere in England. And I just don't think that there's anybody. I mean, I guess PSG would be the other. If we're talking about like, people who have sporting ambitions, who have the commercial aspect, which is a big deal for him. The amount of money he makes off of commercial, offsets whatever money he isn't making, from salary from the club. Like he's a commercial superstar. He can be in anything at whatever price he's demanding. So it would have to be a club to kind of support those. And I mean, I guess maybe the only other place would be something like I don't think AC Milan like has the money or the clout that they did 10 years ago.
I feel like that's everybody in like Italy right now is it's like both don't have the clout and they don't have the money at the moment to make those moves. Because you'd think like 5 years ago, Juventus would be like probably one of the top teams for him to go to, but now they're in shambles at the moment.
Which is funny because that probably makes the Italian league better. Like that actually probably makes it a better, more interesting league across the board. I just don't. There's very few people I think that could fork out the money and have withstand the commercial needs of a superstar like that, plus the sporting ambition. Like there's not many places to go.
Yeah. No. Let's see what's going on in the chat. I'm like I said, this is my first time hosting, ladies and gentlemen. So if I'm not like paying attention to your comments, my bad. I'm still kind of getting used to how to run this thing. I know we're getting a couple people saying we need to cash in summer 2024. Then we have people saying like, no, we're extending till 2028. Klopp and Mo. I see Jay Muse there, always popping up in the chat. Make sure you get your comments in. Like I said, we're very, very close to 10,000 subscribers for the channel. So if you like, share, subscribe, support, helps us get there that much quicker. Other topics I think we're going to work on today is that we do have a game this coming weekend. For some reason, I feel like it's been like a month since the game. I think it's because they were coming so like thick and fast for like that quick second that a week off is just like torture in terms of not getting to watch Liverpool. We've got Bournemouth. We're heading to Bournemouth this weekend to play those guys. What, on the South Coast? I always forget where Bournemouth's at. I think it's the South Coast, right? Yeah. So we're playing Bournemouth away. What do you think? Is this like a clear-cut, easy victory for Liverpool, or is this going to be a game we're going to have to fight and scrap and claw, or is this maybe Solanke's out the door and we don't have to worry about a thing?
I think Bournemouth are a sneaky. They're a sneaky hard team. They started out very poorly, but their manager is quite good. And I had seen. I don't know if you follow any of the Athletics Tifo football team, either are like on Twitter or on YouTube as well. They put out great content. But the one guy is really really loves sort of out of possession teams who are really well organized, hybrid pressing, and what he was saying is that this manager didn't bring any of his or hardly any of his staff from Spain. So at the beginning of the season, it wasn't just him adjusting to the team themselves. It also is like he had to like kind of set the standard for the staff, who's like almost entirely English. I believe, and so this really they had a really difficult start, but immediately after, you could kind of see those ideas start to get implemented, and they're a tough team to play against. I would not take this for granted. This is not just a walk up and 3 points and go home. My worry is that this is much more something like how Luton played us already this year. And we know that teams, especially when we play teams, when we're away, we're going to get teams best. We're going to get the supporters, the fans best. It's going to be the loudest, always when Liverpool City rock up United. So I would not just think that this is going to be a walk in the park. And like you mentioned as well, that the kind of extended break, I don't think necessarily is a huge benefit to us, in comparison to them. I think it's beneficial for everybody to have this kind of time away and to not try to overload all these players. But I don't think that it's a huge benefit in our favor versus theirs.
Yeah, just like kind of what Jamie says here in the chat. Like for some reason, it seems like after international break or any type of break, Liverpool comes out of the gates very slow and maybe drop a point when they shouldn't be, or just really have to grind out a game. And like kind of your point of always getting teams best. I remember the year we went for the quad, it felt like every game down the stretch, like every single team we played fought for every inch of grass against us and just like kept punches us in the mouth, and we had to keep trying to find ways to win. And it was just tough games over like nonstop. And then City would come into town and they would get up like 4-0 in like 20 minutes. And it's like, why can't you give them the same type of intensity that you've been giving us? Like it just felt like every single week is like we play Wolves, and Wolves are like, we have to score in like the 90 minutes, like to win the game. Yeah. And then it's 3-0 within 10 minutes when they play City. It's like, oh, cool, thanks.
Yeah. Speaking of other teams that are sneaky good and I don't really want to play right now as Wolves.
Yeah, I absolutely. I really like Gary O'Neill. Like, that's like my thing. I wanted Bournemouth to kind of go down because they got rid of O'Neill when they really shouldn't have. There's no reason to, because he did such a good job keeping them up after he slaughtered them last year at 9-0.
Like, I had totally forgot that he was on Liverpool's staff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I always
totally forgot.
Yeah, I think one of the guys in the chat, like the WhatsApp, said it. I was like, that's right. I forgot that he was on the chat. He was on the team. Yeah, like he's done such a magnificent job. And like how you said, like Bournemouth really slow out the gates this year. Like they were part of my like on-running joke that 12 points will keep you up this year because of how bad kind of the bottom four had been.
They were really poor to begin the year.
I think basically around like mid-November they really kind of switched the gear, and Solanke's found goal scoring for him. And that's all you really need when you're at the bottom of the table is one player to catch fire like that, and they're going to drag you out.
Yeah.
Which I really like Dom when he was at Liverpool. I always felt like he was just missing the end product, but you saw like all the talent was there.
Yeah. He just needed the right place. He was never gonna be able to play in the way that we wanted, but to have him be that like, stand up, traditional lead the line 9, like you could always tell that he had the kind of the vision for it, the nose to get in those good positions. But it's good to see him kind of get to where he can find that form. I don't harbor any. There's a lot of teams, of course, in the league that I despise. Bournemouth, not as of this moment, not one of them, but so good to see him doing really well there, and I think they're gonna finish higher than they currently are. I think barring injuries, I would envision them continuing that, turn upward. And, I don't away games, like Jay said, after a break anyways, like always tricky, always, something to be careful about. I think we need to go into these kind of games in a good mindset with a really good game plan and have us all firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, and then a couple of days later we get the Fulham game. So it's like it's kind of a weird little, it's not so much a banana peel game because I think with our injury situation, like the team kind of picks itself a little bit, in my mind at least. I mean, probably Bradley right back, Joe at left. I think you go kind of strong in midfield, like especially with Bradley still being so young. You just put Konate and Van Dijk at the center backs, let them kind of dominate the game, not put too much pressure on the young lad. Obviously, Allison, that's an easy one.
Yeah.
And then midfield options, I just think it's McAllister, Curtis, and I think Harvey gets a start. I think, or I was thinking about Mo on the right hand side now. Well, I guess Nunez. Duh. I'm getting lost. These guys haven't been around for a week. I'm forgetting who everybody is. So
I don't like Harvey on that in that for this position, especially if he's going to try to do the things that Mo does, which is like use the pace. I like it better when Harvey is cutting, not just cutting inside to take the shots, but like rotating inside to pick the ball up to then have the fullback overlap. That's where I like him the best. I bet he start. I mean, I bet he starts. Dom's still going to be out.
Yeah, then no Trent, no obviously left back situation, no Mo, no Wataru.
Maybe it will be Elliott in the middle, and then something like Jota, Diaz, and Nunez or something like that. Like just throw him at. Well, Jurgen loves to play Cody as an 8, so I don't.
Yeah.
What do I know? But that's not my favorite position for him to play in. I'm a huge fan of his. That just does not seem to me like his best position. But I don't make the millions, to pick the team. So
yeah. So I'm trying to think. What was it? The Fulham game where Bradley played, and I thought he looked fantastic.
Awesome.
He looks ready for a big step up in competition. I know he's League One last year. He looks unbelievably ready. People keep talking about my amp in the background. Thank you. I love that amp. It's freaking beautiful. Sorry. No, I think this is a great game to get him like kind of started and playing like in the first team, getting some like Premier League action. Then what Wednesday we got the Fulham game. I mean, thick and fast, but I think after that it's a week before we play again. I had the schedule up and now I've got rid of it. I have 10 billion things up.
How many tabs can I keep?
Yeah, until my computer catches fire. Jeez. No, like I said, like this is a odd game. They are playing well. It is an away game. Our away form has not been great this year. In fact, probably over the last 2 seasons, our away form against more bottom side teams has been poor, especially for a team of Liverpool stature. I remember I kind of caught flack for saying we really need to make sure we start we could rotate the squad against Bournemouth in the Cup because focus on the Premier League. I think we played Luton. If you're like, we're playing Luton, who cares? I'm like, it's a away game. And also the way Luton plays top table teams. It's
listen, I'm a big believer in like a rowdy, really tight, stadium. Like that's not a fun, really small pitch. The fans are right on top of you.
Yeah.
It's like it was like midweek. Wasn't it a midweek night game? It was like a week night game, like maybe a Monday night or something like that. It wasn't it?
Which game?
For Luton.
Luton. I thought that was trying to think. I was able to watch it. So it wouldn't have been a Monday because I work 10 to 8 every single day.
Maybe it was like a Friday. And
it's
dark, like not a fun place to go play. Like especially if you don't go with a, really like an attitude mindset where like they are not taking my points. If you don't, like those guys can jump at you and it's not fun to go places like like Bournemouth, like Luton, and have a team and all the supporters like just be up for it. Vase of Flowers, reckon we 4-0 or 5-1 pounding. I would love that. That would be great. I just always am like rather be a little more trepidatious, I guess. Every time I'm like, no, we're gonna kick them to the curb. We're like stuck at 0-0 and it's like 72nd minute. I'm like, oh my god, we're gonna do this again.
Well, I put money on the Luton game for Darwin and Mo to score hat tricks, and got a big old fat nothing.
Yeah.
So these are tough games. Like I would love a 4-5-1. Like even the games where we have played well, like the Newcastle game where we're just playing them off the pitch. It's like we go up 1-0, then a couple minutes later they somehow take one chance at one goal, and it's like, come on. And then I think we went up 3-1 and then gave up another goal. And it's like, can I just not have, like, I'm at work. I can't like just focus on my computer. I've got work to do. It's like every time I stepped away, Newcastle would score. Do you have a score prediction or anything like that, or are you just kind of like, yeah, just get through the game?
I think 2-0 would be really, good solid work. Really just like do the tough work, beat them soundly, but like we don't need like no injuries. That would be great. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, good professional performance. Like 2-1, like 2-0. I'll take. I'd rather have a 2-0. We score like in the first 20 minutes both goals, and then we just ride it out, and both teams just kind of sit back and just okay, we're all content with the 2-0 here. I'd be over the moon for that. Oh, then what else have we got on the agenda? I think. Is there anybody you're excited to see this weekend? Because I know, like with the injuries and stuff like that, we could see some different players. Or is that like a kind of what's your starting lineup? I should say, I guess.
I think it's going to be pretty cut and dry. Like I think it's going to be pretty boring. Maybe I don't know what the fitness levels are like. Especially coming out of a break, you would hope that everybody's 100%. Maybe you see a Gravenberch get a start. I don't think his form's been great, as good as it was when it came, and that's that's to be expected. He's a young guy. He's a young kid still, new place, new team, like new expectations, and that's okay. Like he came out absolutely firing. His potential is still there. If he's willing to work, then then it will come. He will come good. I'm not worried about that at all. But maybe I don't know. Maybe he trains well after the break and gets a start. Maybe maybe he's holding someone back from starting based on what he thinks that we need to win that Fulham game. So maybe Curtis doesn't start, but maybe Gravenberch does. Something along those lines. I bet Harvey probably will get the start at right wing, but I wouldn't. I would rather play like 3 pure attackers. I would rather have the Darwin, Diaz, and Jota as a front 3. Like get the goals in early. And then you can rotate after. Like I just don't want to have to be chasing this game at 65, 75, 80 minutes, have it, 1-0 or 0-0. Like I just don't want to have to deal with that, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I think that's mean we keep Jota on the bench, because if we bring him in the 70th minute, it's nailed on.
He's scoring.
Yeah, it's nailed on. 91st minute, hadn't touched the ball yet, or hadn't completed a pass yet, and then puts one in the back of the net.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I'm kind of with you. I think the Gravenberch shout. I don't know. I think Jones is in such terrific form right now that he's almost a kind of nailed on person right now, nailed on player. Like he's just kind of got to start with how well he's been playing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know anything. I think Jurgen knows a lot more than I do about the footy. If there's anything guaranteed in this world, it's that. I did put it out in the chat. If you guys want us to answer some questions, put some questions in. I'm liking them as we're going so I can get to them later. I'm trying to think. What we are sitting still first at the top of the table. We've got news from all over the world here, like in terms of, you got the, FFP stuff yesterday. Didn't really, sate anybody's appetites in terms of what's going on in Man City, but they're talking like August. They might be getting to that.
Yeah. I'll believe that one. That's like the impending trials of our once president. Like they're coming. Like, okay, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah. I'm like, you mean this decade? Because I don't think it's happening this decade.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Oh, let's see. All right, make sure, like I said, we are really close to getting to 10,000 subscribers. So make sure you hit the subscribe button. Tell your friends about it. Tell your mothers about it. Open the windows and scream out to your neighbors. Subscribe to the LSC Transfer Room. We do this every Tuesday. The American lads, we get on this show and we talk talk about the great team that's over the sea. Over the sea, I said that. Playing at Anfield at Liverpool Football Club. Let's see. Let's go back to some questions here, Colin. If you're ready for it, unless you got anything else you want to talk about in terms of just Liverpool in general.
Hit me.
All
Hit me
right.
with the speed round. Let's do it.
I think they talked about this on the afternoon show. It seemed Liverpool remain interested in Levi Cwell. What do you think of that? Or do you think kind of like with the emergence of Kwanzaa that this is a signing that we don't need or is not something that sates the appetite as much anymore as it would have in the summer?
No, I still very much would like this. I would still love this. I don't think that having Kwanzaa play this well should be a reason just not to get in a guy if you need. He's left-footed. He's English. He's playing on a team that is very bad, and not a good place for young people to go and play. That's been pretty well documented over the past 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, if the opportunity is there to buy it. My thing is that I don't think Todd Bowley wants anything to do with us. I think he would rather cut off his own fingers before he would do business with us. Yeah, I don't think so. No.
Yeah. Yeah. In terms of it actually happening, I'm with you. I think Todd Bowley would gladly sell for like half the price if it just long as it wasn't to us. Like if we offered 40 and somebody else offered 20, he would take the 20 just to spite us some more. He ticks all the boxes, like you said, in terms of like the homegrown, the age, the left-footedness, like the ability to grow. I know some people in the group chat are kind of down on him the way he's played this year, but I think you're kind of right. It's in a kind of a situation where it's not great for him to develop and a lot of pressure. Cause I know before the season, they're like, oh, this guy's nailed on for like one of our best center backs. I'm like, still pretty early on his development to hinder your top 4 hopes on what is he, 20, 21-year-old center back, and that he makes this rapid development. I think, let's see. Sorry. Yeah, he ticks all the boxes, but I'm with you that it's just the Todd Bowley mountain is probably too high to climb. And there's probably an extra 0 getting thrown on anytime Liverpool are mentioned to try to get a Chelsea player. Oh, let's see. I'm trying to make sure I don't miss any questions. Oh, let's see. After this, the other question here from Nix. The streets are buzzing. Love the name. Do you see Thiago factoring in the final 18 games and as a starter or a sub?
Speaking of believe it when I see it, do Thiago and Steph Bajcetic exist? Are they okay? Are they well? Is everything all right? Because I don't know that I've seen them, not just in training, but like I don't feel like I've seen them in Thiago, especially. I mean, outside of those training pictures that we had seen him in, and he popped up in the home game behind the scenes video greeting Bobby and Fabinho. Outside of that, I don't think I've seen him for a year. They just like locked him in a like cryo chamber somewhere, and we're like, we'll defrost him when we need him.
Yeah.
I hope so. I just I have no idea. With these kind of like weird lingering injuries, like I don't know. Who knows? Who knows if it's actually in the cards or not? Beats me.
Yeah, in terms of talent, man, like the way he hits the ball, like passes the ball, is just like there's like 3 people in the world who somehow can, like, I think there's a pass I think it was the FA Cup semi against Man City where he was like on the run, getting closed down, and he outside foots it all the way to Mo, like 50 yards away, and it's just right on the dot. And it's like there's 3 or 4 people in the world who can make that pass, and luckily 2 of them play in our team with Trent and him and Thiago. But
I think he's the goat. He's the like goat passer of the ball for this generation.
Yeah,
like the way he when we first got him, he talked about, or someone talked about, how he hits a ball and will put spin on it, knowing like what he wants the player to do. So if he's hitting someone and it's kind of around the corner, the spin is perfect to take the ball, in stride. And like to be able to do that goes beyond like being able to like comprehend it. It's baked into like his existence. Yeah, just one of my favorite footballers ever. Like he's
Mhm.
incredible. I would love nothing more than to get him back healthy. Like I don't know, last month would have been great, but
Yeah.
I'll settle for next week would be awesome too.
Yeah, and yeah, that's the thing. I guess I got a question kind of pop in my mind. What do you think of Thiago's time at Liverpool? Would you consider it a success, or would you consider it kind of a almost not so much flop? Flop's probably way too harsh a word for how great he was when he does
Yeah,
play, but like, you know, well, we won 2 cups. We
yeah,
didn't win the league. We didn't win Champions League. We didn't get the things that you would get a Thiago type player, that Rolls Royce type player to bring him in and kind of take us over the top even farther.
yeah. No, no, because of the price, because of like what we gave up to get it. Like just having him around and having him be a like positive presence
Mhm.
in the club like is well worth every penny of the 30 million pounds or whatever it was that we gave Bayern Munich. Like that is you can't put a price on like on quality like that. You know, impact wise, no, it's not as impactful as anyone would hope. But like, I just I just love him so much. I love what he brings. I just don't, for the amount of money, like I don't care. You know, I want him to be happy. You know,
Yeah, I think you can't consider his time bad when he has that Champions League goal, which is still somebody posted it the other day, and I spent like 3 or 4 minutes just watching it. It's the behind the goal angle, and it's just like
oh,
it's
the fact
it
that you can't tell if it touches the ground or it doesn't,
yeah,
like it just is. It probably honestly, if you could zoom all the way in, it
yeah,
probably like kisses the top of the blades of grass, but doesn't actually like hit the ground.
yeah,
It's it's one of those ones that'll be in compilations 10 years, 15 years from now with the like Mesut Ozil, like where he like skips the ball
mhm,
over the
yeah,
guy, he like hits it on a half bounce over, like vision that you can't teach, that you
mhm,
can't you know.
yeah. That's the when people say perfect technique, that's what they're talking about. It's just the most chef's kiss
Yeah.
goal I think I've ever seen. I'm just like there's like I said, there's 3 or 4 people who can score that goal, and he's one of them. Oh, let's see. Let's jump into some questions here. Oh, let's see. I got J Muse here coming in with, do you think we LFC will make a surprise signing this month?
I'm gonna say no in hopes that a surprise is coming. Because if I'm not surprised by it, then it's not a surprise. No, I don't think we're doing anything.
Yeah.
Barring like a massive injury,
Mhm.
and heaven forbid, no, please no. Um, I would rather get through the window healthy with an eye at a couple contract renewals or contract extensions than get someone if that is get someone that that is new, meaning that someone else has been injured to get up. Like just stay and get healthy, give people the contracts that we need,
Mm.
keep it moving.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think anything's coming unless injuries hit us,
It'd
especially
be
just like back. It,
it'd
it
be
would be
great to
great.
be
Mhm.
Fabinho surprised. Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
here he is.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, who? Well, because, I didn't know
Yeah.
anything about Fabinho at the time. Like, who? And then, you watch a few things like, this is exactly what we needed. Like, it was the perfect signing.
I,
Yeah.
I've
I would
left
love
him
to do that.
every minute from 35 seconds ago.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I mean, if we like, I just don't see anything coming in unless it's like a short-term loan deal, which doesn't make sense for us at all. It's just, I don't know. Let's see what else we got in the comments. Make sure you're hitting us with these questions. We are kind of spinning some tires here, as they would say here in the States. The
We're
Starship
just
Night Show.
we're just hanging,
Yeah, we're just having a
It's
good
just
time.
us and some friends.
Yeah, this is a great time. This is a pretty busy chat, so thank you so much. Like I've already shielded it probably 7 times already, but I know they tell us when we host that we need to shill it pretty hard. Make sure you like and share and subscribe, support all the fun stuff. Make sure you get all that done. We're super close. Let's see.
Tell your friends if you have a WhatsApp group of
Mhm.
people who watch Liverpool, get them to throw us a like and subscribe. It'd be like really awesome for us to be able to hit 10K. Like Hopefully before the end of the month. Ideally tonight, but
Yeah.
I'll settle.
Yeah, I mean, I want the bragging rights that the show that I did the 10,000K one. I'm like, see, make me the face of the show, and all of a sudden we're
Here
getting
we are.
10,000 subscribers.
Paul asked before about what do I think about Belichick going to Jerry World to be the coach of the Dallas Cowboys. I don't think so. I think he's going to go to the Atlanta Falcons.
Ooh.
That's my thought. I think he interviewed with the Falcons. I think yesterday or the day before. I think it's a good fit.
Yeah, it's a talented team.
I would think that I could see the Dallas Cowboys going for Mike Vrabel more so than Bill Belichick. Is my thought. Just based on the needs of the team, I think Vrabel gets players to play harder for them, gets more out of what they have. And the Cowboys, they don't need more, talent. They need someone to get them to play up to the level that they can. So that's what I'm saying, Paul. Or Jay Muse, whoever was asking about the NFL, I think that's where Belichick goes. I think Belichick goes to Atlanta, Vrabel to the Cowboys.
Oh, it'd be easier if I was in the start. See, I think Belichick and Jones would just butt heads horribly because Jones likes to kind of interfere, and Belichick no, I'm not doing that.
Get out of my locker room, dude.
Oh, let's see. Paul here with, does Curtis Jones start when everybody is available? I think currently, yes. He's played so well in the past, 6 weeks. I think this is a yes for me. At current form, yes, without a doubt.
I think you make the correct. I think that's the correct decision. If everybody was suddenly healthy tomorrow, and everyone obviously had played up until, played the way that they have up until today, I think that he does. I think if you had everybody healthy for another 3 or 4 weeks, I think the best three is McAllister, Szoboszlai, and Endo at the moment. But based on McAllister not being able to play in that position, the answer is yes. If everyone's healthy tomorrow, yes, I think so.
All right. Got another J Muse question here. I think you brought this up a couple times. Both Crystal Palace's Michael Olise and Leeds' Crescencio Somerville are firmly on the radar of Liverpool's scouting network. I like Olise a lot. I was very happy that he ended up not going to Chelsea. I was pretty over the moon about that. I do like Olise a lot. I can't say much about Somerville. I think he scored a goal against us with Leeds. I think he did. I can't say enough to say whether would be a great signing or not. I know he is still fairly young. I think he's only 20, 21 still. I know he's a pretty young kid still. But at least I'd be over the moon about if we really do get to sign somebody like that. I'm trying to think if he fits needs.
How old is? I don't have any idea how old he is. I would believe he's 24 or 28.
He is 22.
No way.
He's 22. He's part of that crop, man.
That's awesome. Yeah, sure thing. Yeah. I would worry about, maybe this is just, me being pessimistic or realistic. The amount of money that I think Crystal Palace probably want for him, especially with, I would guess, that business being done in the summer. I'm assuming it's high. My guess is they probably. If they wanted, what did they want for Czech Decore?
Oh, they wanted
65.
I think 70. I even saw 80, which I think part of that was just it was pretty late in the window. They also had us by the cojones, I should say, in terms of what we needed as a player, and also they'd already lost quite a few players that I think it was kind of like an ownership showing the fans hey, we're not, selling the entire team for you.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I think that probably reflected their own kind of. I think they were thin at that position too. Since he's been injured, they've had American Chris Richards, who's a center back, playing at central midfield.
Yeah,
that defensive six. So, yeah, I don't doubt that they probably on a normal day would have taken 50, 55, whatever. But their asking price is absolutely insane, and I think if they find a way to stay up, which they probably will, because there are 3 teams that are so bad, not necessarily because they're any good, but there are 3 teams that are so bad that if they find a way to stay up, that I think that'll be a high asking price for him.
Mhm. I think Muse says the release clause is 60 million. I'm like,
I'm always dubious on release. Like,
yeah,
release clause is so much about like reporting if you've got the right source. I'm not saying I definitely don't believe you. I just don't know. I think for 60, I think you say absolutely, especially if someone else is gonna, like, if United's like, we're gonna do it, and you're like, no, we're not letting you do that. No thanks.
Yeah. And I know that's what the other team that's kind of on him right now is apparently Manchester United. At least that's always the report, is Manchester United wants him. I just don't see how anybody wants to go there right now with just how much of a fire hazard or just dumpster fire they kind of are at the moment.
What do they do with their 80 million pound also right wing Anthony?
Yeah.
They play the exact same position, and that would be 140 million pounds on 2 players in the same exact position.
And I'm trying to think. At least I don't think plays the like. This is my thing with Manchester United. It's like I cannot figure out what they're trying to do in terms of building their squad.
I don't think they've got any idea.
That's the issue. It's like they get Højlund, who needs service, like wingers who whip the ball in, and they have wingers who just don't do that. And
dribble.
Yeah, they have Elise would do the same exact thing. I can't figure out who they're building the team around. I can't figure out who's supposed to be like kind of because
no one.
When Klopp kind of started building the team, you kind of knew like Bobby was the linchpin for everything because the way he played. And then we started like kind of building around that, then it became like kind of Mo's team, then Van Dijk's team. Then, we kind of knew who our identity was and who we could look to in moments. I can't figure out with United who they think that person is. It's like, they think it's Fernandez. Do they think it's Rashford? Do they think it's Højlund? I have no idea what they're trying to do. It's awesome to see, but
it's literally fantastic. No, I don't think they have an idea. Only it's taken them until now to be like, maybe we should be a counter-attacking team. Like maybe we should just sit way back and like not worry about playing football and like just use our athletes to run at people. Like, wow. Anybody with a C-level license or above, or probably less, like they can figure that out. Like, you don't have the people to be playing out. Why did it take you 18 months to be like, oh, we could get more points by just like running at people?
It's like still one of my favorite games. Like when we beat them, I think it was the 4-0 at Anfield a couple years ago when they tried to do 3 at the back, and it was just obvious within like 2 minutes, like that was the worst decision they could have ever made. It's like they have Harry Maguire playing like the left side center back, and Mo's just running at him, and it's like that's just.
What I remember from that was Jurgen always stands on the halfway line and is like observing what's going on, and they caught him like looking at them, and he was like watching them like warm up, do like like a 3 center back like warm up, and his face was like ajar. He was like, are they really gonna try that? And they did, and I honestly think he could not believe it.
Yeah, when Paul here with Ten Hag or Southgate, if you had to pick one of these two to coach Liverpool, can Liverpool dissolve as a club? Like, I would never want to see football played by my team under those 2 managers the way they play.
Paul, that's literally hell. Like I would rather Roy Hodgson come back and manage again. And that's saying something. I'm going to make people mad by saying that. Yeah. Literally, I would. I don't want either of those buffoons anywhere near it.
Yeah, I will always say like my fandom of Liverpool is like weird because the first team I ever watched was the Roy Hodgson Liverpool teams. Those were when I became a fan was the Roy Hodgson year.
That's how you know you've got the stuff. That's like if they're that bad and you still love them, like that's how you know.
Yeah, the first game I ever watched of Liverpool live was Liverpool versus Wolves at Anfield, and Wolves won 2-0. I think it was 2-0 if I'm thinking correctly. And it was like, this is my team, I guess. And then the moment that sealed it was later that year when we had the double penalties and extra time against Arsenal. And we scored ours, and Kenny told Arsene Wenger to go F himself. And playing like hear it through the mics. I'm like, this is definitely my team. This is definitely the team I love more than anything.
It's a great clip. Yeah. I mean, I don't remember. I don't think I remember the very first game that I like watched, or like the first. I mean, Rafa Benitez was the manager like when I started to be interested in Liverpool. So those were, pretty good times. And then it got worse. And then it got a little bit, and it got better. And then we almost won. And then it got much worse very quickly. Was it 6-1 loss to Stoke?
Oh yeah,
Stevie G's last game. The most embarrassed I might have ever been of any of I've been most embarrassed by Steelers losses over the past 2 or 3 years. But
I'm a Browns fan, so
it's right up there. I'm happy to say, Brendan, you are my only Browns friend. Browns fan friend.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh. Yeah, it's just I don't know how I made it through, like kind of watching those Hodgson teams. And then like you said, I think it was the next year. I remember a game against who was it? It wasn't Blackburn. It was Bolton. Bolton were awful. They were like they finished 20th, and they just blew us off the park for like 45 minutes. It was like 3-0 at halftime, 3-1 at halftime, and nobody was interested. I'm like, oh, this is a tough team to watch.
Yeah.
And we brought in Stuart Downing to feed Andy Carroll like headers, and then they never played together. It seemed like every time one came on, the other one came off. I'm like, isn't that to play together?
Literally horrible times, like absolutely awful times to be a Liverpool fan. I'm so glad we're here now.
Yeah. All right. Got another question here from Zach. Here's a question I've been recently in regard to ownership, CFC, LFC, FFP. Did Liverpool raise the price before the season, have Chelsea overpay for mediocre players? I don't think Liverpool had to do that. I just think Todd Boehly is just so cowboyish that he just doesn't care and was going to spend on whatever, and thinks it's this, because they had that little loophole of they could spread out the money over 8 years, which is closed now. I don't think they were anything with us doing anything. Maybe I know there's a conspiracy theory that we did that with Caicedo just to make him spend even more. I don't know. I don't think that's actually true, but man, Chelsea is just in cowboy stage right now, almost just monopoly money stage of just, there's no repercussions to what they're spending right now, but it feels like it's coming.
This is a fun, like, revisionist history to imagine, us sitting in a boardroom being like, I think we could bid them up, and then they'd be in real, like they'd be in deep. There's no way, like, that based on Jurgen's comments, like that is not what happened. That we really were in for him, and he really told us yes, and then told us no. However, you can always find a silver lining after after something happens. So this is a revisionist history is sometimes great, I think, and is not necessarily wrong. Yeah. Let's see. I don't have anything to add to that. I'm sorry. It's okay. I just like I think sometimes we kind of like project our own like hopes onto like the situation, which was just like plainly like very disappointing from our end, which and that happens. It's not like Paul asked me if number 1 seed will lose on Sunday, will it be Baltimore who plays the Texans, or will it be the 49ers who play the Packers? The more likely team to lose is Baltimore. The Texans are a hot young team. Yeah, with Stroud going, and when he's
like because I just got to find out as a Browns fan when
Mhm.
you have C.J. Stroud and not Case Keenum as the starting quarterback,
Yep.
it's a completely different game.
It is. Yeah, it absolutely is. One of my best friends who is used to be my roommate, his brother works for the Texans as like as their like team like one of their team like photographer and videographers. So
Mhm,
he like he travels with the team. He's in tons of like shots. He's always on like he's always like standing right behind CJ Stroud like with a big camera like facing him. He's on TV constantly. But he had been telling us for months. He was like the Texans are legit. Like
mhm,
D'Amico Ryans is legit. Not just a great coach, like a great person,
mhm.
and like they're a problem for the rest of the NFL if they continue to draft well and like have good coaches. Like they're a problem.
Yeah,
And we were like, "What are you talking about, dude? They're gonna stink."
yeah,
Nope, he was right. Like they're good.
yeah. That's what being in Columbus, like I get to watch C.J. Stroud at Ohio State quite a
Yep.
bit, and I was just like, I don't know when they were arguing who should be number one overall pick, I might get C.J. Stroud. Like he is a perfect quarterback. Like he just the way he throws, the way he made reads in college, which you don't see as much. Like he's just
He
he
made
was
that one. He made that one throw this weekend, which he was like he like dropped way back and had time, and he just like flicked his wrist. It went 60 yards and dropped right in the guy's
mhm,
like sprinting hands. I was like, "What?
yeah.
I don't. The Steelers don't have anybody who could throw the ball like that."
Let's see. Let's get to this question here from Jay Muse. Do you guys think Sven should coach the Legends match his dying wish? Yeah, I mean, if he's dying, why not?
I didn't see anything about this. I don't know. I don't even know what he's referencing.
Let's see. Let's see if I can bring it up. Oh, almost ended the stream by accident. 1 second.
That would have been funny. Someone explain to me.
Too tough of a question for us to answer. We just jump out of here. It's been Goran Eriksson. He's he's about a year left to live is what it's been reported as. I think cancer, if I'm thinking correctly.
He
Said that
was the former like England coach, right?
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
he's coached a whole bunch of different teams. I think he coached Chelsea for a second, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Believe so.
England, Man City. I don't see Chelsea here, but I swore he coached Chelsea for a second. Mexico, a lot of like international teams. Leicester City for a quick second.
Mhm.
Yeah, he said his dying wish is to coach like Liverpool. And I'm like, yeah, if that's the case, yeah, if it's a Legends game, let him in the dugout. I don't, like we're a Liverpool Football Club. We're a
Oh.
worldwide club, so hell yeah.
Like do the right thing. Call him up currently and be like, we're moving up the game. Like
Mhm.
we'll
Yeah.
figure it out. Continue to be the club that people wish that their club was.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw tons of fans when Liverpool put out that video. Was that like on Christmas Day of the I can't remember his name, Dara,
Mhm.
who they brought him to the club and like Jurgen did a
Yeah.
little interview with him and took him around. I was like weeping.
Yeah.
I'm like weeping watching that video.
Yeah.
And and I was like, and I saw tons of other fans of other clubs being like, this is the best. Like, do things like that all the time.
Mhm.
Like, do things like that constantly. That is like continuous goodwill being built for and it's the right thing to do. Like,
Yeah.
do good things like that. You have influence and money. Like,
Yeah.
be good.
If there's no downside, like to a decision, there's like then do it. Like, if there's no downside and everything's just upside, like do it. Like, if it's truly his dying wish, grant it. Like,
It's going to cost them what? Some money? Like,
yeah,
th-
they'll make it back in the match revenue. So, yeah.
have some players sign some extra shirts and sell them off. Like it's okay. Like the
Mhm.
money will continue to come in. Do good things, do the right thing, make it happen. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Then another comment here, Paul saying that is Browns owned by Todd Bowley. They are not. They are not owned by Todd Bowley. They are owned
No.
by I forgot his name. I just forgot his name. Oh shoot.
Todd Bowley owns the Dodgers,
Yeah.
who have just spent, $750 million
Mhm.
on one player.
300 million on another player.
Yeah. Just like it speaking of, as if money doesn't exist, it doesn't really exist for him, especially not in baseball.
Yeah. They are owned by oh shoot, I forgot his name again. Jimmy Haslam, who's also the owner of Columbus Crew, who was part of the Save the Crew movement, which is near and dear to my heart up here in Columbus. Then the other thing I saw from Stuart Edward, he's like, he was talking about in the chat that we don't give enough respect to Curtis Jones, that way he's been playing for almost a year now. He's been one of our best midfielders, that, he doesn't see why there's 3 other people ahead of him. I do agree with you, Stuart. I know Colin doesn't. He's controversial. So, I mean,
that's not what I meant. No, I think he's really really good. I think sometimes he doesn't always play, and I think Jurgen has kind of referenced this as well, because he had that unbelievable performance against West Ham, and the response was like, if Curtis played that fast as he can, like we just saw today, as he can every time, like there would be no discussion about this. And I guess that's my only point, is that I want him to play to that level consistently all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Tomlin has a quote. The Steelers coach Mike Tomlin has said a quote about like playing, make the extraordinary like mundane or whatever. And he's like that's what I want from Curtis. I want him to be that fast of a player, like not just in speed of running, but like decision making, his like decisiveness. I want him to be that good and be that influential all the time, because we know he can. I think that's the only reason that it's ever a discussion with Curtis.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like I said, I think in the last like 6 weeks, he's been phenomenal. I think he's been like one of our, if not our like kind of most consistent performer over the last like 6 weeks or so. Trying to think of how to add on to that. Like I think that's what we're seeing now, because obviously for the past until like the second half of last season, he had these odd injuries where for some reason he was kind of like Thiago, where seemed like he had like a pretty minor injury. Then he's gone for like 6 months. It's like, oh, he's got an eye injury or something like that. And it's like, I don't know. And then it seemed like he wasn't going to make the grade. He was kind of inconsistent. But I think kind of like you said, since like the second half of last season, he's kind of really found his stride. And I do think there was some fans out there who do not give him his due. Colin is not one of them, but like there are some people who do not give him his due. And I think, I don't know. It's great to have an argument on who's the best midfielder and have like a 4 really good options. Like that's even better. Like it wasn't like back, as we were talking earlier, in the dark days, where who's our best left back option, Paul Konchesky, or should we go get Jose Enrique?
Well, it's and not just for like midfielders like writ large, because obviously like I think everyone can understand that like Wataru Endo has a different function in the midfield than other players.
Mm-hmm.
But like if we're just talking about like 8s, and like if everyone's healthy, like we have at least 4, if not 5 8s that we could really like argue about, like who is like actually the best and who is at, and that's the best kind of problems to have. Period. Like they're you want those kinds of issues to have, and I love that we can go back and forth about like, oh, Curtis is better, McAllister's better on his day. Like, let's find out and see.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Colin, do you have anything else? So we're up at the hour and 10-minute mark, which is a little bit long for us. But do you have anything else you want to talk about?
Now, Jay asked about how the River Hounds are. The Riverhounds are going to be worse this year than they were last year. They finished first in the conference last year, and then lost to Detroit in a home game in the first round. Not good, and they lost their best defender, who was like in the League 11. He went to Louisville City, so they're not going to be as good, I don't think, but. But Paul Lilly, their coach, is like the USL GOAT. He's like one of the I think the all-time leader in wins for a coach, and is one of the best like American, working American coaches at any level, but has continued to win at this level. And I as long as we have him, we'll be okay. But not quite as good as last year, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
USL's a fun time.
Yeah, that's what I kind of want to get to your guys' stadium. That stadium right on the river is beautiful. That
It's
is
a
a
good
beautiful
look.
stadium. Yeah, it's a really good looking stadium. I'm trying to think. If I'm thinking, didn't you guys knock the Crew out of the Open Cup this past year?
We did, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was like you guys knocked us out this year, and then the year before that, Detroit knocked us out. So,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
we
And that
probably
was Columbus was not playing good at that time. That was a weird. I think they had just changed managers, like right.
yeah, we just brought in Nancy, who's
Yeah.
won't be with us for very long because somebody bigger is going to snatch him
You
up.
think he's moving up?
Yeah, French guy. I mean, he plays a he's very interesting system. Like he invites pressure. Like he wants the center back to sit on the ball and then hit quick, and then like he's got perfect just quick playthroughs. Yeah, we have quite a few players. Patrick Schulte, the goalkeeper, he's not going to be in the MLS very long. He's going somewhere. So, like, let's see. You know what? Paul says he wants us to keep going, and there's a question that I was about to bring up to you before we ended the show that Jamie just asked. What do you think of the MLS clubs trying to weasel out of the US Open Cup? I know this is not Liverpool related, but this is something that I don't like at all. So
this is American related, and we are on Star Stripes and Anfield Nights.
It's true, and it's
oh yeah, how many bad things can I say about Don Garber without swearing? The answer is a lot. The answer is a lot. No, yeah, he's one of the more diabolical figures in American sport. Just like one of the most universally hated dirtbags there is. Could not say worse things about him if I wanted to. Yeah, I mean, if MLS continue this stance of we're going to be against a promotion relegation in the United States, we're going to try to only have this kind of this product, which is like only we're going to have 30 teams or whatever, like, and there's going to be 2 divisions of 15 and like East and West, and like if they only try to commit to this weird system that they have, in the long run they will be proved wrong. Like the system is not what like American soccer fans want. Even the most loyal, I would say even especially the most loyal of like MLS club supporters, USL supporters, like we want promotion relegation. Like we want our game here to be taken as seriously as we take it, and to have the MLS try to like be like we're separate, we're something else, like sets up in the long run for them to either totally fail and like the league itself like goes out of existence, or opens the door for someone else who is of a more progressive mind. If USL is like, we're going to make USL 1, 2, and 3, and like you're going to be able to move up and down between those, like over the course of time, like that will win out. And it might take 50 years, it might take 60 years, whatever, but that system, the stakes and the intrigue and the devotion to to follow a team and to love a team up or down the leagues, like that is what we want.
Yeah, that's the one thing with like MLS is like they could have done something so different than anything in American sports and really kind of shown a different path, because the meritocracy is what kind of drove me into Liverpool. Was like just it was, I think all my teams that I watch in other sports just weren't good. I mean, that's right in the middle of the Browns, just 20 plus years of just being garbage. The Reds weren't great. Like just anybody I followed just wasn't very good. So okay, I'll get something else. And like just the promotion relegation, once you wrap your mind around, this is incredible. Like, and like the following, like kind of following Luton's journey, like they were non-league, now they're all the way back, and like, or you're seeing even the reverse of Reading mismanaging stuff. There's actual consequences to everything. And Don Garber, like during the trophy celebration for Columbus, like when he grabbed that mic, I didn't hear a single word he said. He was booed so horribly because he was also spearheading the whole, let's take him to Austin, let's get him out of here.
Yeah, he wanted them in a bigger city or more profitable city, wanted them in that kind of growth league, which is, not to say that Austin shouldn't have had a club. Like Austin should have had a club of their own. And then they should be able to put the money into it and start at the bottom. And then if they are serious enough, they will put enough money into it that they'll go to the next league. And then like the fans who are spread out across this country, like, deserve that. And they deserve the chance to have their club and to buy in. But like that should not come at the cost of you and the rest of crew fans. Like, it should not just be like, oh, we're going to pick you up and move you somewhere else. Like let them have their own thing. Let them create something that is their own and of their own volition, and let them work for it. It would have been so much more special for them to do it, or for teams to do it that way, than just to be like, we're picking up the crew and we're putting them in Austin. Here you go.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
I'm trying to think what you were saying there. Oh, it's like a couple years ago. I think it was like mid 2010s or whatever. Louisville made like 3 or 4 straight like title games in the second tier, and like a couple of them they beat FC Cincinnati. And then FC Cincinnati gets to go to the MLS, even though they had lost like 2 or 3 title games to Louisville, because they're the bigger market. And it's like, that's not how it should be. Like, Louisville has earned the opportunity to try to make it to the next level. And it's like the new teams like St. Louis, or I guess San Diego. There are teams that are already there, but they're starting new teams. Obviously, also we can start talking economic stuff. Yeah. Billionaires can make more money. Is ultimately what Garber is in for at the end of the day, is make sure the billionaires make as much money as possible. So, I mean,
and it put that other San Diego team out of existence.
Yeah.
They're like we're not going to be able to compete. So like,
yeah. It's like everybody's just going to become, I think it's San Diego FC. I think they were the San Diego Loyal. I'm like, put them up there. Give them
with an incredible logo and incredible. And they're like, let's see how boring we can make this.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like, yeah. I don't know. Well, we've completely went off the rails of Liverpool talk here. So I think I'm going to call it. You got anything to plug for yourself, Colin?
No, nothing in particular. We'll be watching NFL games. I'll be here next week. Probably see you then. I'm sure we'll talk about much of the same. Hopefully some Liverpool wins between.
Yeah, but I think we'll be talking about one win and then previewing the Fulham game next week. That's for sure. Other than that, for Colin, for myself, Brandon, if you like what you've heard, you spread the good word. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, support. We do shows every single day, even on match days. There's a lot of fun stuff going on this channel. We are super close to 10,000 likes, or 10,000 subscribers, I should say. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, get us there, so we can all have a great, wonderful party. Other than that, I'm Brandon. This has been Colin. Thank you so much. Keep red and never walk alone.